Give us any chance, we'll take it. Read us any rule, we'll break it. We're gonna make our dreams come true.
Welcome to the Navtastic, a podcast about 8 seasons in a row. I'm Mr. Fernandes, and
I am Chris Jayawardena. Hello.
we're here with the first episode of season 4 of Laverne and Shirley, the festival. This is part 1 and part 2. We're covering them as a single episode, as how it is listed on the DVD, and how it plays on the DVD. In general, it tends to play as 2 separate episodes of syndication, but most of the time they'll be played back to back. So it's pretty fair for us, I think, to cover it as a single episode. It was directed by Alan Myerson, and it was written by Paula A. Roth and Mark Sotkin. I bet you get some info about them, don't you, Chris?
I do. All right. So when it comes to the writers, this is smack dab right in the middle of Paula Roth's run as a credited writer. She has 5 more to go after this. She was also responsible for the wonderful Debutante Ball episode and Laverne and Shirley Meet Fabian. Now, unfortunately for her in her career, she adding insult to injury that she wrote for season 8 of Laverne and Shirley, she was immediately credited with doing a episode of Joni Loves Chachi. So she climbed her way out of this hell by continuing to work on a mix of Happy Days and Love Boat episodes in the mid-1980s. But as mentioned before, she produced and wrote for the show Perfect Strangers, which included fellow Laverne and Shirley colleagues Joel Zwick and Judy Pioli. So Mark Sotkin returns after a run of episodes on season 3, including Tag Team Wrestling, New Year's Eve, 1959, and 2001: A Comedy Odyssey. So he's got 5 more to go, and will become a producer during this 4th season on the show, up until its conclusion in 1983. His later writing and producing credits include It's a Living, The Sinbad Show, and Golden Girls. And as for Alan Myerson, hi Alan, welcome back. Yay! He did a lot of episodes for season 1 of the show, along with a handful in season 2, including the Haunted House episode, which I still say is the best as ever. So this is his penultimate for working on the show. He has 1 more after this coming up. But he was able to get in on this 2-parter, so he's technically got 3, during this period. His career ended up being very much TV directing, with a couple of movies here or there. He was another alum of the Larry Sanders Show, which also had Chris Thompson of Airport 59 and The Cruise Part 1, which I think we mentioned as well. We'll finish up details with him when next we run into him, though. So, hi, Alan. But yeah, that's our details for today.
Yeah. Here's what the episode is about. Laverne, Shirley, Frank, and Ed are heading on a summer trip to Brooklyn, New York on a bus to see Laverne's grandma for her birthday, introduce Edna to Laverne's grandmother, and take part in the neighborhood's annual street festival. Frank is anxious about the prospect of spending time around his disapproving mother, who's even more traditional than he is. And Carmine, who's staying behind in Milwaukee to run the pizza bowl, is anxious Shirley will cheat on him. Faye seems to be stalking the whole gang as Shirley quickly meets him and begins to flirt with Laverne's cousin Anthony, and Grandma DeFazio's disapproval of every aspect of Frank's life begins to take its toll. So too are they being stalked by Lenny and Squiggy, who have hitched across the country on Carmine's dime. Lenny's being paid to spy on Shirley and make sure she stays true to Carmine, or else the boxer will, in quote, ruin Lenny's good looks, unquote. When Frank's lie that Laverne is engaged to Squiggy backfires in his face, Frank becomes determined to win his mother's approval by any means necessary. In this case, by entering the Grease Pole Climbing Contest and winning Grandma DeFazio a trip to Italy. In the second part, Frank trains to climb the pole, and Carmine, tipped off by Lenny's honest but incomplete accounts of Shirley's fidelity, runs to Brooklyn to be with Shirley before it's too late. Will the girls be able to stop Frank from climbing the pole, or will they accomplish their goal and send Grandma DeFazio to Italy? What'd you think of this episode?
Well, first of all, isn't it supposed to be that the dad's supposed to keep his daughters from climbing the pole and working the pole?
Yeah. Oh, God.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm a little sorry. Okay, great. You're laughing now. Okay, I feel less guilty. I less feel guilty. Okay.
Good.
Anyway, so no, this was a hell of a strong start for season 4. I think starting with the 2-parter was a great move.
Yeah.
You start with character development, you have character background, you have some wonderful guest characters, as much as, I mean, we're going to get into this. Yeah, you guys ain't fooling nobody with that quote unquote Brooklyn Little Italy location, guys. That's I know a Paramount lot when I see that, including Canap Street
Yeah,
and what
yeah.
appears to be a Wild West movie fort down the back alley where the Cousin Anthony comes out of. So yeah, anyway, yeah, no, it's delightful. We got a lot to cover. This was an absolute freaking delight.
As I told our buds on the These Days Are Ours podcast on Twitter, Laverne and Shirley never left the Paramount lot.
Mm-hmm.
It never, ever, ever left the Paramount lot, ever. Happy Days at least did location shots. They went down to the pier in Santa Monica. I think that they went on location for that Wild West episode that they did, and that wasn't filmed on the Paramount Ranch. Laverne and Shirley never left the freaking Paramount lot for anything.
Mm-hmm.
Ergo, Brooklyn, in quote unquote, in this episode is definitely Knapp Street.
Yep.
That is Knapp Street with flowers on it, and a couple of street signs changed and different angles to hide the fact that we have not moved an inch. It's economical and hilarious.
I mean, they try to make it nice and distracting with the pinwheel in the girl's back pocket, so you're looking at her butt. But when you look over on camera left, when the shot zooms out a bit, there's freaking the pizza bowl right there on the street corner. And I mean, I'll give them credit for this. I don't know where they got the B-roll from the actual, what looks like probably the actual festival, which the IMDb trivia, I believe, I'm going to double check this. They mention based on, they mentioned based on the time of year that it's a particular festival for let me just quickly look this up. I'm stalling for time. Almost there. Okay, so it says on IMDb, though the festival is never mentioned by name, the timing of these two episodes being aired around in mid-September, this is if we're taking this at their word that, when it's set, is the time of, anyway, indicates that the festival is possibly the Feast of San Gennaro, which I looked it up, and it's possible. Yeah. It is definitely possible. So that seems to be the case. So they do have B-roll footage of some festival in New York, and it looks like they probably just shot there for a couple of days. They got a certain amount of fee to film, and then came back and cut it in.
You can tell they obviously have a couple of shots they recycled from bus stop of the bus going along the plains where we're supposed to be in the middle of the country, plains of wheat, and then we get that shot of New York, where they're supposed to be driving in. They reused that shot in season 8. So that's clearly some stock footage that they bought at some point. And
if it's Paramount, it could be just something they either shot for a film. It could have been something they shot for a TV thing, a documentary. Who the heck knows?
Yeah. What's amazing is that this is one of their big shows. They spent, the budget was going up. You could tell in certain aspects. As season 3 and season 4 happened, became the number one show in the country. It's still the number one show in the country this season. All season 4. And yet, they did not bother to fly everybody to New York to film that.
As much as, given what we know of the behind the scenes drama, I'm trying to imagine doing a full company move and hotel space with this crew and cast.
Yeah. Oh, do you know? Okay, here's the season 8 spoiler. Season 8, by the time we get to season 8, the ratings are in the toilets, but not completely in the toilets to the point where ABC wound up completely canceling the show. They said they'd do a 9th season if Penny would agree to it. Penny said yes if we move the whole show to New York, and then they canceled the show.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's intense. Anyway, but yeah, so it's interesting though. As you mentioned though, just out the gate, there's these details, these little bits of pieces of footage, and then kabam, you get to it. But that all being said, the stock footage isn't cheap, and even just sending a camera crew out for a couple of days ain't cheap. The thing though that was amazing was the amount of construction they do for the festival and the amount of extras they have in pretty much just about every shot when they're outdoors.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a single. I think aside from when they first arrive in the streets are kind of quiet. I don't.
Yeah.
I think once the festival begins, there's not a single angle without at least 3 or 4 extras in the background.
Exactly. There are people working booths. There are a lot of booths
Yep.
that they constructed.
And there's a lot of details. I mean, they even have Psycho playing at the movie theater down the street in one of the shots as well.
Yeah. Which firmly sets us in what year, Chris?
That would be 1960 or 1961 if it's on second or third run.
Bam. There you go. That would be about right for season 4, since it became 1960 in the middle of season 3.
Mm-hmm.
So we're perfectly on. Of course, it's probably the summer of 1960 when the story happens. So there we go.
Yeah.
We actually have some kind of concrete time and scheduling with the show.
Yeah, we've tried. We've had disagreements within the fandom at this point.
Yeah.
I'm just at the point of where I have done my research. I'm going to stand by what I said what I said.
Oh goodness.
But anyway,
Okay.
but no, I mean, I was just going to just encourage us to jump in. I mean, there's so much to do here. There's so much to see. We get to see, Laverne in her element. She gets to get yelled at by her former neighbors, and
this is one of my favorite episodes, in spite of a certain plot element that makes me want to punch a character. Very hard. Super hard. I'll probably die because he's a boxer. Okay. The first thing to note before we get really deep in the episode are the appearance changes of our cast. Bill Foster has grown a mustache between seasons.
yes,
And he's going to keep it throughout the rest of the run of the show. It becomes a signature look for Frank DeFazio. That's a notable change. Penny Marshall's new hairstyle is gorgeous. This is some of her best hair.
I love it.
The whole series.
Love it. Yeah.
She looks beautiful. She looks beautiful in these 2 episodes. She looks like stunning. She's off the chain amazing.
I also wanted to comment on the Frank with the mustache. My mom likes the hair and the mustache.
Yeah.
She liked it.
Shout out to Chris's mom again.
Yeah.
Shout out to Chris's mom again.
Yeah, my mom liked a lot of the bus station, the bus depot stuff. She thought it was cute when Shirley and Carmine go to make out in the phone booth.
I was just about to mention that. I love the bit when Lenny and Squiggy come in, see them making out in the phone booth, and start teasing them. That is such an I've been friends with you forever, you do this all the time. Haha, you're adorable but funny moment. I love that.
Right. I'm just imagining how much this happened every day in high school. Every day.
Yeah. They're just so used to it. It's like, you're doing it in public. It's so cute. That is adorable.
Yeah.
And way,
I love the boys came down to see them off. I mean, to see them off, which I thought was sweet, but also that they have the list of presents they want. That it's a list of presents we want you to pick up in New York City, and we want some of them big apples.
Yes. That line. I love that line. And an actual menu from Hell's Kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Which is cute.
God. Given some of the interpretations of hell I've seen, I'm trying to imagine what some of those things would be.
The show's interpretation of hell is coming up. We'll get there too. We'll see that. So Edna comments on how handsome Frank's mustache makes him look. And we find out Frank's actual name, before he Americanized it, was Fabrizio.
Yeah. Which,
Fabrizio DeFazio.
And my mom got a big laugh out of that as well with Edna.
Yeah.
Although she went, at it as well. It's funny. He thinks Fabrizio is a bad name, but it's like, I mean, come on. Yeah. Now, okay, I watch a lot of Italian grindhouse movies, so I think of Guido and Maurizio De Angelis, and I think of those soundtracks for Street Law and Chioma and films of that nature, and it just gives me warm feelings. So Fabrizio feels good, but So I kind of like Frank more now that I know his Italian name is Fabrizio.
That I just think is a great detail. I love his idea of making himself and making his daughter look good to his mother is to say that Laverne is learning Italian and she's getting married.
Yes, but I'm not. And then the little pause. It's a yet.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good. And
I love.
Oh, go ahead, please.
Go
Please go ahead. Go ahead. No. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I love that the girl's idea of luxury is a bathroom being on that bus. Of course, the working class girls, this definitely is luxurious. In the 60s that they have a bathroom on that bus.
Oh, yeah.
That's probably the coach level of actually being a nice bus.
And having taken some long bus rides, yeah, the bathroom on the bus, I mean, I know they come a little more standard these days, but I like it.
Yeah.
It has been handy when going to the coast.
Yeah, exactly. So Squiggy tries to mash on Shirley, and she gives him an Indian burn right there in the bus station.
Yep,
I love
and
the
a slug
line.
into the gut.
Yeah, and a slug right in the gut by her grabbing Squiggy and shoving him right at Lenny. I love the line, "Get some Butterfingers, can rub them on my arm."
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
That's a great line. That is a fabulous line. So
It's a recurring theme we notice too, is people giving the boys money to go the hell away.
Yeah, that's a recurring theme in this episode. It's a recurring theme in previous seasons. I'll pay you if you go away. And Lenny has a great line. Why would I go away from somebody who's giving me money?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. And there you go. I love that moment where Carmine almost instinctively kisses Frank. The two of them just try to macho it out.
Yep. Oh God, yeah. It's close. It's a close call. Way to go, Carmine. Bet you question your sexuality now.
Oh, God. Hey, that would actually be interesting. I mean, more interesting than this plotline in this episode.
I also love that expression from him afterwards. I mean, I can actually do that face. Yeah, it's like, ooh, that's a good face. Eddie did a very good job with that face.
I love it.
And boys, no, don't mash Laverne. Don't do that.
Yeah, I know. I love that Lenny goes high and Squiggy goes low.
Yeah.
Of course they do.
Yeah. I mean, Lenny maybe, but boys just generally no.
Yeah. Generally no.
Yeah. By the way, I think I said this to you when we were watching the episode together, but as soon as it gets to that close up of the guy filling the balloon with helium, and my comment was, "Oh no, it's carnival magic!" Oh wait, it's just B-roll footage. Okay.
The carnival magic joke still kills me. That carnival magic joke still kills me.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're at Brook. I love that moment where Laverne stands on the hood of the cab and yells in the neighborhood that she's back.
Yeah.
Laverne, is that you?
Yeah, it's me.
Shut your mouth.
And by the way, we need to make sure we mention this because Ogden Talbot returns as the cabbie who has that great line, "Big spender."
It's a great one. And then we meet Laverne's grandmother, who's played by Penny Stanton, and she is really good in this part.
She is.
She's equal parts bitterly flummoxed by her son's choices, adoring of her granddaughter. She fawns over Squiggy, which I think is hilarious. She likes the boys. She takes a real shine to the boys, which I really liked.
Mm-hmm.
And motherly towards Shirley, and she really loves Edna. Her chemistry with Edna is fabulous. That's a really great little moment.
Yeah, because I love the whole thing with the mustache. They punchline that joke with the Edna. I like you, Edna, really well. It goes from don't mention the mustache. Maybe she won't notice. And it's like a monkey foot on your lip. He looks like an organ grinder. And then finally Edna joining her. It's like, you're right. I hate it.
Yeah. I loved it when she called the pizza bowl the bowling hole.
Oh my God.
Still makes me laugh.
It does, yeah. Oh God, it makes me just think it's like skee ball.
Yeah. Speaking of skee ball, I love the girls' behavior at the fair. They're trying to figure out what they want to do in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Laverne wants to throw balls through toilet seats, play a game at the carnival. Shirley wants to go see a museum. Of course she does.
Of course she does. Yeah.
So dumb. It's just so dumb, and it's such a wonderful exploration of the economy between them. Of course, that's what they would want to do the second they're in some place. It's not Milwaukee. Then we get the moment where Cousin Anthony approaches.
Yes.
And Laverne thinks he's a stranger and tries to flirt with him until she realizes she has a blood relation to him.
Yep.
That sure happens. And thus does begin Shirley's vacation flirtation with Anthony DeFazio. Yep. So what did you think of Anthony?
He was fun. I actually really liked him. I liked the dynamic. I mean, I love the way the chemistry between actor John Lansing and Penny Marshall. They did a fantastic, because I like that it's. I mean, I will say it's a little uncomfortably, because they are cousins, but it's also kind of cute in that innocence. Because I think that's what they're trying to go for is. In their minds, they probably haven't seen each other in about 10 plus years. So like they're still 10, with the way he pats her butt in the same way that you do when you don't know what patting someone's butt means. Yeah. By the way, I have to mention interesting thing about this actor who plays, Anthony, the hot cousin.
Yeah.
He has the distinct honor of being only in this two-parter and then being featured as a completely different character in the series' final episode.
Oh, Lord.
Which
oh dear, and I think I know who it is.
Do you want me to tell you now or wait till we get there?
Oh, we should wait, but I know exactly who he is. No,
okay.
This is not as bad of an actor reuse as what they do with Ed Marino in season 5 and season 6.
Okay.
We will get there. It is super awkward. It is the most awkward thing that happens in the show. One of the most awkward, top 10 most awkward things that happens in this show.
Yikes.
I will let Chris be surprised by it.
Oh, God.
I will let Chris be surprised by it because it's hilarious.
Great. So I'm going to get
like
Five Nights at Freddy's by this fact when it comes up. This is why, Lisa, I keep telling you, you would be an amazing Forrester in an MST3K episode.
You've said that more than once.
Yeah. No, I keep telling you that, and I still mean it. I want to get back to this actor though, John Lansing. So he's going to come back, but I have some interesting trivia about this guy before we get too ahead of ourselves. So he was an actor at the time. He was in American Graffiti, The Kids from Caper, which was a teen detective show. And then what does he end up going off to do in the 90s? He ends up as a producer. He ends up as a producer and writer on Walker, Texas Ranger.
Oh, I would have never guessed.
And I also have to comment: do not bring your evil here, cousin Anthony, because you also, I'm not gonna feel right if I don't mention this. He wrote 2 episodes of the Swamp Thing TV show.
Oh,
so it's pretty cool.
That's cool.
But
that's really cool.
But anyway, yeah, no, he's great. I love the gotcha last part with these two. I mean, they're just totally kids.
Yeah, definitely. They're definitely kids. I like his chemistry with Shirley. I like it better than her chemistry with Carmine, at least in this episode.
Yes.
In this episode.
Yes.
Oh, we're going to get to the Carmine crop in a minute, folks.
In just a minute, yeah. By the way,
soon.
Do you want me to cover Penny Santon's career and her background, or because we're going to be talking about the mom character a little bit anyway, so...
Yeah. Please go for it.
Go for it now? Okay, I'll go for it now. Okay.
Go for it now.
So I love, we have lots of love for Frank's mom, and it made a lot of things make sense, which is what I love about the characterization. And Penny plays it perfectly. The reason I want to bring some special focus to her, she had an amazing career. 47 years of activity as an actor from 1952 to 1998. When I commented on this when finding this out, I told my mom, and she goes, it was a strong work ethic.
Definitely.
She was in a ton of TV and film, from Sunsets for 77 Sunset Strip to Columbo to Murder, She Wrote, and was even in one of our favorite 80s sci-fi comedies, Short Circuit. She played Ali Sheedy's neighbor in that movie.
That's so cool. That is the best.
But yeah, we'll keep circling back to Mrs. DeFazio, Grandma, but it's amazing. I love the way that I especially love how she talks with Laverne, and it's like she has enough English, but a mixture of English and Italian that Laverne kind of gets what she's saying, and Shirley's trying to interpret it. Is like one of my favorite moments in the episode.
Yeah. The way they handle that is so much fun. The way they handle the culture clash. Because Frank has been, in his way, judgmental about Laverne being single, living with Shirley, not being married, and then you find out where he gets this attitude from. He gets this attitude from his mom.
Mm-hmm.
His mom judges his Americanization, his choice in profession, his physical appearance, the fact that he hasn't lived up to the standards that she thinks he should be living up to. So it's kind of trickled down, generation by generation. And it makes you wonder what kind of mom Laverne will end up being.
Yeah.
To find out who she would be with her kids as a result.
Yeah.
But
and
obviously, go ahead.
Well, I was going to comment that I also, I was going over notes and we were thinking about this, about the relationship between the mother and son here of Grandma and Frank. And I like how Frank even justifies the ruse about Squiggy, right? Because that's the whole idea is, it's like, oh, he's marrying him, Squiggy.
Yeah.
And that bubble pops, immediately.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad they did. I'm glad they did.
Yeah.
But Laverne don't even like this guy. Nobody does. And
Poor Squiggy. He feels so bad about that too.
yeah.
Daddy.
Daddy.
Daddy is great. Daddy is great.
But but I like how Frank points out, I wanted to make you proud of me, for Laverne to marry a guy you like. And that was, I also think that's very interesting that it's that it made me think of how in Laverne's arranged marriage, what would have Mama DeFazio, what would she have thought of little Mr. No Neck and Harry Knuckles or Harry Thumbs?
Yeah. I think ultimately she wants her daughter to be happy. She likes Squiggy because Squiggy eats all of her cooking.
Right.
And has a hearty appetite. And could probably give her great grandchildren. So that's where her approval of Squiggy probably stems from. She doesn't know him very well yet. I love that she just immediately rushes into this, by the way, when they suggest that they're getting married. She wants to immediately have the wedding while everybody's together. Forget Squiggy's family, apparently, in this scenario. She wants to get them to get married at the end of the festival, and then wants to go on the honeymoon with them to Italy.
Right.
So like, that overbearing streak that Frank has definitely came from his mom.
Yep.
So, oh yeah.
Makes a lot of things make sense.
But I think her reaction to Laverne's near marriage in that episode, she would probably beat Frank over the head. To be frank. To be frank. To be honest. That's what she would do because he's being a dope about the whole situation and she's not going to stand for that. That's my dual opinion. I think she's got her own personal line. You crossed it.
That's a good.
Majorly.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, you notice that she's not trying to fix Laverne up. This is the guy she says she's in love with. Mm-hmm. And then she hears this, she just throws herself all towards it and all into it. She commits to making him happy and making him part of the family. She doesn't try to match her up with anybody else.
Right.
So, versus what Frank did, which is much of a stranger.
It is interesting, yeah. And it makes me also wonder then how much, with the arranged marriage for Frank and Laverne's mother, was that from his family side, from his mama and maybe his papa, or was that from Laverne's mother's side, maybe?
Well, we don't get to meet, I don't think, any of Laverne's mother's side of the family. That might be because of how the arranged marriage took place. They never explain, how it was contracted, who contracted it, just that they were very happy. And various little details of Laverne's mother's personality. She's stubborn like her mom, as Frank says.
Yeah.
At one point, yeah. But it's hard to tell what came from her mom's side of the family because she's kind of addressed like a sore spot, like a wound, understandably for these characters. It makes sense.
Good point. Yeah. Yeah, I'm still. Yeah, I don't know. I have no notes ready for that line of discussion, so I'm just kind of feel like I'm a babe in the woods here, totally lost.
We haven't really even gotten there yet. We're gonna get there when we hit Visit to the Cemetery, which is coming up this season.
Okay,
we'll get there eventually. Yes.
So yeah, I was just gonna say in regards to the way that Squiggy is used in this episode, does that make us want to jump into Lenny in the episode?
I was just about to mention how the boys are introduced in this episode. The girls at a sausage stand, Shirley saying they're less than attractive sausages, and hello. The boys have... Which is a great line. The boys have hitchhiked across the country, by being driven by people who hated being in a car with them, and drove faster the longer they spent time in their cars. And we find out that the boys have been paid to come to New York, and Lenny specifically has been paid to come to New York, and spy on Shirley for Carmine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really hate Carmine in this episode.
Yes.
I really want to punch Carmine in this episode. So hard and repeatedly in his face.
So for folks that are Carmine fans out there, we've had to address this multiple times. We have our mixed feelings about Carmine. I grew to actually love Carmine through season 3. I really changed my tune for a lot of reasons. Ironically, it started with him being Mr. Big and then possibly falling in with the mob and all that sort of stuff. I watched too many crime movies. I don't know, but most of that goodwill took a fucking swan dive off the Chrysler building with this fucking arc.
God, this character is awful. He is so selfish and so dickish. The fact that he's so paranoid about her cheating on him with some guy who is more interesting than him or greater than him, to the point where he's literally paying a friend of theirs to spy on her on the threat of him beating the hell out of him, is awful. He is an awful person in this episode, both of these episodes.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, he has no leg to stand on when it comes to fidelity.
No.
No leg at all.
No.
He's a guy who went to New York in season 1, boxed in the Golden Gloves tournament, and fell in love, quote unquote, with another woman, and decided to spring it on Shirley later.
Yes.
And they may not have been exclusive or committed, but something like that deserves to be eased into. And then almost all of season 2, he's there with Lucille. He's flaunting his relationship with Lucille in her face. And she does not like it, and it's hurtful to her. And then season 3, they start getting back together. They start getting more serious. But even though they're kind of hot for each other at this point, even though they're definitely steadier than they have been at this point, there has been no ultimate I love you, let's be monogamous, let's not see other people. Like, literally less than 5 episodes before this one, Shirley was in a bus station trying to see another dude.
Yep.
And he was on a date with another woman.
Mm-hmm.
So, I have no idea why he is such a dick in this episode about the idea of her seeing another guy. She has to eventually come home to Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
Even if he's afraid she's going to do to him exactly what he did to her.
Mm-hmm.
And if it did happen that way, he freaking deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest.
Let's be honest here.
Because,
Yeah. I between episodes, I told you my notes and feelings about this. I will not.
Yeah.
Okay. No. I'm not going to read any of these off. They're very inappropriate. And mildly.
My note.
Yeah. I was gonna mention just one thing, just to space things out a bit. Is
yes.
You're right. He's afraid that she's going to do the same thing, and there's 2 reasons why this stinks. The first is that in some respects it's out of character for the relationship, and it posits Carmine as another, because this is a symbol of masculinity in a lot of comedy, especially this time, a very Italian comedy. Because, I mean, just think of, how many sex comedies at this time were often about, either there was some sort of cuckolding theme, or, the woman was fooling around, and it's just, that was very much where there were, point is, it doesn't work because it feels inconsistent, and the way they use it to bring Lenny into the plot doesn't work either. And we'll get to that in a second. But ultimately what it comes down to is, Carmine, you suck. Yeah.
And then in the end, when we get to part 2, we will address what he does to the hopes and dreams of several people in this episode.
Yes.
He takes a huge dump on the hopes and dreams of several characters because he's a jealous, selfish baby.
Yep.
That is the truth. I am sorry, Carmine fans. Especially after we had such a nice episode for him in the dance studio. We're going to have other nice episodes where we're going to feel sympathy for him and like him and enjoy him. But in this episode, his behavior is so totally inexcusable.
Yep. And
totally inexcusable.
Because to me, what's funny and cute is the idea that Shirley is in New York. She's in the Big Apple, but it's where it's after her and Carmine have gone steady, and she can't, she misses him constantly. So imagine she finally has a guy like Cousin Anthony all trying to get all over her, and she, and he's taking her places and doing stuff for her, and she can't shut up about Carmine. That's funny. That's cute.
Yeah.
That's silly.
Yeah.
And that's Shirley, because she's oblivious to outside of, this little dream world of hers.
Yes. Exactly. Instead we get this.
Yeah. And not to mention, the Lenny and Squiggy use in this is odd to me.
Very odd.
Obviously, Lenny would be more trustworthy in Carmine's eyes to take pictures and not try to use that as blackmail, in the moment, whereas Squiggy, I could see it.
Yeah.
But Squig is clearly a pervert. And in multiple ways. I mean, there's a line in here about the stuffed animals that really creeps me out in this episode.
Especially younger women. I never noticed that vague line of skeeziness with Squiggy, and I'm pretty sure that David inserted it to make him repulsive, so it's on purpose.
Oh, yeah.
Lenny doesn't do that, by the way. There's no hint that Lenny's into that or about that, so...
Mm-hmm.
So that's a Squiggy thing. But Lord, yeah, you were saying, honestly, this is obviously a reason to have Lenny in the episode.
Right.
This is Lenny's storyline. Squiggy gets his own separate storyline when it comes to the whole relationship thing. The trouble with the Squiggy storyline is that it doesn't last long enough. The whole fake engagement thing blows up immediately, so he has nothing to do in part 2.
Yep.
Absolutely nothing to do. And he hasn't really had anything to do before and after that one scene. So, I love this episode a lot. I love a lot of the elements of it. I love a lot of the storyline bits. But the one fly in its ointment is this. This is the biggest, fattest fly. And, if you think about the way Lenny handles this assignment, he handles it in a very Lenny way. In that he's kind of gently inserting himself and constantly talking about Carmine. And then when they say, "Can you please go away?" he just starts innocently talking about himself. How you like these shorts?
Right.
It's just the way he does it is very him and very well-meaning and less manipulative and money-based than about, doing what Carmine says or he'll die. That's another reason why Carmine is a douche. I'm going to beat up my friend unless he gives me proof that my girlfriend's not screwing around on me.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ, God. Everything about Carmine in this episode is awful. Everything. He also abandons his post at the Pizza Bowl.
Yes, he does.
And leaves it alone and open, apparently.
And mind you, I was already kind of confused as to why he was even put in charge of the place anyway, because he has his own dance studio to run. And it's there's a perfectly good Mary right there in the shot that could have been running the place. And she's been working there for how many years by now?
Tons. Mary the waitress deserves her due. Eventually, she's going to move to California with them and work at Cowboy Bills.
Yeah, she totally deserved to run it for just a week.
Yes.
Yeah, she totally deserved it.
Yes. Ultimately, the problem with that is not only that he leaves the Pizza Bowl apparently open without anybody running it. It's not only that he has 2 jobs at once. It's that Frank put a guy that he wouldn't pay fairly for his labor, literally less than 10 episodes before this one, in charge of his whole restaurant.
Yep.
Logic. Where's the logic? There's no logic. Oh, God. My note, by the way, on this whole storyline is, this fucking spying storyline, please die, Carmine. I want to apologize to all of our Carmine fans. God, that's how I feel watching.
Oh boy! Oh, I love that we finally did it. We finally cracked. I mean, I've had a couple of moments where it's come through, but this is it. This was the one. You kind of warned me that this was coming too. That we were gonna have our rage fest.
I warned you that he's kind of a dick in this episode, and he's really annoying. But anyway, bringing it back to the boys, I love the idea that they're going to go downtown to Manhattan to see where King Kong died.
Yes. And
it's adorable. It's so dumb.
And now that they mention it in that context, that is number 1 on my list when I go to New York.
Yeah, go by the Empire State Building. Pause and wave. Take a picture.
Oh gosh.
There you go.
And I should and you know what? I should probably wear a jacket that says Lone Wolf on it.
Yeah. They do sell Lone Wolf t-shirts, by the way. They do
Ooh.
sell them officially licensed. Yes, they do. I've shown you that before. Yeah, they
Oh,
exist.
what am I saying? What am I saying? You're right. You done
They're
you
both
done show
on-
me that.
Both on Amazon and in the Cafe Press store that CBS runs. For
Got
the
it.
show. Yeah.
Looking up and yep, there it is. I found it.
Yeah. Isn't it cute? I want one of those eventually. Anyway, Shirley's cousin Mikey gets name dropped again.
I noticed
this
that.
episode.
Yes.
Yeah. He does all Laverne's dental work. I love that when her grandmother just struggles with trust, but she's real proud of those. Shirley has a lot of great lines in these 2 episodes, and these are just some of them. She gets to do a lot of fun work, even though this episode really isn't about her at all.
Mm-hmm.
This is more about the DeFazio clan family drama than anything. It's real, but she's really funny.
Yeah.
Really,
Now
really
Shirley is adorable through the whole 2-parter. I mean, there's the
yeah.
I mean, I love the physical comedy with the where she puts the balls in the hole. Heyo. Where she hits the guy twice.
Yeah.
Before she gets it, and then her indecisiveness with the fishing pole and this tiny teddy bear. My mom commented that's a really disturbingly ugly teddy bear.
And then they say it on screen. That's a really ugly bear. It is.
Yeah, no, she cried out, "They called it."
He's so ugly, isn't he? Yep. That's the exact line. I took it down.
Oh, that's right. She gets the teddy bear. It's ugly, isn't it? My mom. Yeah, that's right. Here's my note. My mom went, "Yeah, it is."
Once again, shout out to Chris's mom.
Cindy's delivery. You know, it was rumored. You know, on my mother's side, you know, was Italian.
Italian.
Anytime I hear that pronunciation, it always makes me giggle. Yeah, it's very you know, I love when the girls get the chance to do, you know, even if they're not primary in an episode, they get to do a lot of fun stuff. And I'm kind of wondering how much, you know, with the script, you know, credits being people who'd worked on this before, with the director they'd worked before and hadn't worked with in a while, if this was kind of like, there's something very fresh about this, that everyone's getting to do something a little big, a little broad, and, you know, they put a lot more focus into this. And the actors are getting to have a blast with all the backlot work, and and definitely Cindy gets to shine here, and actually quite a bit of it, you know, to be honest.
My favorite moment for her in this entire 2-parter is when we hit the second part. We'll go get to that eventually because it's an adorable moment.
Because I'm trying to think. So what else more do we got to cover in part 1? Because we've got.
Well, I was going to talk about a couple of things. I was going to mention that the whole reason why Laverne's grandmother, you know, obviously loving Squiggy is because he keeps shoving her food in his mouth. I love that he calls her Mrs. Grandma. That is so adorable. That's another reason why she seems to like him, Mrs. Grandma. I love that when he says, "It ain't often we get to eat in public." I'm talking about him and Lenny. Apparently she's just basically communally feeding them all. I have no idea where the heck the boys are staying. The boys might be sleeping on the living room floor, for all we know. They never address that, do they?
I don't think they do. Yeah, I was trying to think about that, and I think you're right. It's like the floor would probably be it, unless they're staying with cousin Anthony. Unless Anthony lives in the house, in which case they're staying in his room, and Anthony's just. Now I'm just imagining Anthony having to deal with them at night in their nightly routine.
Oh yeah. Squiggy leaving a ring around the mirror.
That takes talent.
It takes time. You gotta notice that on the mantle, there are pictures not only of a young Phil Foster, and a young Penny, there are pictures of a young Gary Marshall there.
Hey, Gary. Good to see you there.
Oh, Gary. And you had a really great line in the chat, and we ended up on our Twitter. You have to say it now. When the whole Squiggy matchmaking plot came up,
Oh God, I don't know if I jotted this down. I hope that I did.
I have.
Yes. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's when, because this is the thing, I mean, it's clear, it should be clear by now that when it comes to, if there's any ship that happens in, OTP for this show for me, I've joined Lisa here in Laverne hell.
Yeah, that's what I call it too sometimes, depending on the episode.
I think you called it to that to me like
Yes,
way
yes,
back before you even got me to do the podcast. So
Yeah.
I think you were teasing me about introducing me to the show and being like, join me in Laverne hell.
Yes. Yes.
And and it's like when you consider this whole suitor thing with Squiggy, they had a perfectly good Lenny right there. Right there.
Yeah.
What are you doing, show? What are you doing?
Yeah. And he's already expressed interest in Laverne, which makes his line about how he knows Shirley backwards and forwards to Anthony make no sense. Because he does not know Shirley when they're in the same room together. And that's pretty much established canon 4 seasons in. That she barely exists him. He kisses her like 3 times. And he kisses Laverne like, 8, 9, 10 times?
Yep.
At this point?
Yep.
There's going to be more? A ton more?
Yep.
Also,
and not to mention, Squiggy's actually has already been paid not to date Laverne.
Yes. And then Frank pulls out of his hat, which is amazing. And Squiggy didn't consider it a big opportunity either when this happens.
Right. I have a feeling this came from that they wanted the mommy issues and the grosser Squig, because Squig is grosser. He's more repulsive, more disgusting, and that has been. The idea is that he is the greasiest greaser you can imagine, and Lenny is the sidekick to that. And so therefore he is less repulsive. And so they wanted, for the sake of the joke, that the worst possible person that Laverne could be marrying is Squiggy. So that's what makes the joke work. But if they want us to take this gag seriously for even 20 seconds, it's got to be Lenny. Come on.
Yeah, I know. We know, show. We've seen previous canon and canon that comes after this, post-canon stuff. So.
Yeah.
We know it works. I loved Squiggy's line, though, when he's told that the wedding would happen right at the end of the festival. Oh, great, I'm free.
I love that, too. Oh, that's so good.
That's terrific. David does chew the heck out of all the meat they give him in this episode. He goes for it. He absolutely 100% goes for it, and it's fantabulous. As always, he is so good at being Squiggy. He just inhabits the character so thoroughly and so utterly.
Yep.
And it's not that Michael doesn't inhabit Lenny, because he does. But when Squiggy is called upon to act within a plot line as some kind of spanner in the works, David knows how to play it and just goes for it. And this is a good example of that. He's really good at that.
And so I was getting, and it's true. And actually, as you mentioned, Michael, like inhabiting, he kills it as annoying Lenny. He's amazing as annoying Lenny. How do you like my shorts? And it's like, Leonard, yeah? Wouldn't you like to go away? No.
He's so good.
And anyway, this guy Carmine, he's a dancer, he's a boxer, he can move to music, it's that's so good. And okay, this has been staring at me from my notes for the last 20 minutes now. Laverne with the balloons.
Yes, that's so random. That's the most random moment in this episode.
But I love that bit. The chase and the chaos, and there's blocking, long takes, there's stunts, there's extras, there's production design. I love it. I love it. It's
I was going to mention how good the episode's use of crane shots is. It really comes up in the second part, but in the first part, there's some beautiful shots, specifically when Laverne goes to climb that ungreased pole. And Shirley tells her not to do it because she's going to get filthy. But she says, no, they'll grease it till the last day of the festival. And then you get this beautiful crane shots from the very top of the pole, and it's magnificent. There's some great directing in this episode.
Great directing, it's like I love that this takes advantage of everything they got. They know they're putting more money into this than normal. They're not just reusing the sets. They're not just having the gaffers light things a certain way. They are going like, cool, we're making a show. We're putting on a performance, you know?
Yes.
Yes.
Alan Meyerson just nails it to the wall. Alan Meyerson is so good in both parts of this episode.
Yep. And
so now
I also and as you know, and the other thing I also love is the consistency of detail in the production design. All of the stuffed animals are hideous.
Yes.
When Laverne goes to hide behind Frank and Edna's obviously has gotten a prize in one of the games, my mom immediately goes, "Oh my God, look at that ugly hippo!"
Yeah, it's beautiful. Those are what cheap carnival prizes used to look like. So hey, there you go.
Yep.
Just works. It works nicely. It works really beautifully. This brings us to the very last scene where everybody's sitting on the stoop watching fireworks.
Yep. Ooh.
I love. I love Lenny's face when they start going off, and then Squiggy tells me he doesn't have to be scared because it's not like thunder; it's fake. He just calms down.
Calms down and just takes a picture, which I don't think that's going to work so well, Len. You got the flash on.
Yeah. Well, he wouldn't know that. He's not. He takes a lot of pictures in this episode, more than Laverne, who's usually the one wielding the camera.
Good point.
In these vacation episodes. But yeah, he tries to take a picture of a firework with a flash on, which is the most Lenny thing possible. It's almost as good as him taking a picture of his own face by mistake.
Yes.
Which is really great.
Oh, that's great.
And then Squiggy manages to score himself a hat.
Yeah.
And Blight stole it.
What did you have to do to get the hat?
Yeah. That's such a great line. Oh, God. And don't call me boss. I like how Lane described him as boss. I don't know what said was boss. I thought it was so good.
Yep.
That was cute.
Yeah.
That was really cute.
And then the final moment with Frank, which again, really good job from Phil Foster on these little subtle performance touches, and the final scene with Laverne and Pop, at the end here. And I love they have another dolly shot, very 70s night lighting, but I mean it's really good. They have that little bit of movement.
Yes.
And just that exchange,
Yeah.
She'd never been proud of me. It's like Shirley. It's like, no, I'm talking about Mama.
Oof, it's just heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking.
Yeah. Oh, and the line delivery when he says "That's nice," that's nice, Muffin. It's so defeated. It's so defeated.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Absolutely heartbreaking in every respect, because all he wants is his mama to look at him and be proud of him. And she can't do it. She can't do it because he's not living up to the standards in her head that an Italian man needs to live up to.
Mm-hmm.
In her head, he should be this kind of guy. He should look a certain way. His daughter should behave a certain way. The fact that Laverne is not living with him anymore, she absolutely blames him. She thinks he kicked her out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And that says a lot about how old-fashioned she is, how old-world she is. Frank's old-world / American old-fashioned in his behavior. He combines a lot of the old-world values in his behavior, but also he's modern enough not to fight his daughter completely on her being out there, a single woman living on her own.
Right.
Yeah. And on the other hand, his mother would never let him do that if he was a woman. If he was a girl, she would never let him do that. So, yeah. I love it when Laverne offers to hang Shirley upside down to make Frank laugh. It's the most random thing I can think of her offering to do, and think, Jesus, Laverne!
Yeah. I think her being back home, like all the tomboy is coming back out of her.
Yeah. Which is fabulous.
Yeah.
As I said at the top of the episode, Penny Marshall looks so good in this episode.
Yep.
She's so filled with energy and spirit and life. And Laverne's utter happiness to be back in her element, she manages to play beautifully. It's really a sight to be seen. But yeah, her tomboy's coming back out. It's kind of great. That brings this is the second part, I think.
Yeah.
Unless you got more notes. You got more things to say?
Yeah, it moves us into, again, I guess it moves us into episode 2 then, right? Part 2.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Part 2.
Yeah. Like them hot shots I hear about.
Yeah. Yeah, the ones that shoot chickens via bows and arrows, yes.
War. It's fantastic.
War. Yeah. I loved you in Wall Street.
Oh man, sorry folks, we had a Zaz moment there for a second.
Yes, we did.
And anyway, so getting into the second episode, my first comment is, "Oh hi, B-roll."
Yeah, so much B-roll footage.
Yeah.
So much obvious like stuff that they took in New York or stuff they took at those booths, perhaps before the cast arrived, or with the B units at some point.
Yeah, they feature the same sausages, which I thought was interesting.
Yes, they can't sell those sausages to save their lives, apparently.
Right. Oh man. Also, whoa, that top on Laverne. My God, hello. Yes, thank you. That's a nice shade of red.
I will join you in drooling. She looks really nice.
Well, thank you. Yeah, no, I'll save you a seat right next to me here for there. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like I said, Penny's hair combined with all the costuming for this episode and the makeup, she looks fabulous. That's not to say that Cindy didn't look great too.
Oh yeah, Cindy's adorable here. Yeah.
She gets some beautiful dresses. She looks really, really nice in some of the dresses they pick up. So everybody looks really nice, basically.
Yep. So at the start of part 2, we go into Frank is trying to get in shape in 3 days, and Edna has Edna has that line. He isn't in the shape to do that. I should know. And
my note for that is just Edna in all caps. That's the reaction.
My mom and I both got a woo-hoo-hoo laugh out of that one. Oh God! Side note: Edna chasing him with the squirt gun and then using the bucket is adorable. Yeah. I love that. It really
is. It's a perfect escalation.
Yes, and I love when she dumps the bucket. There's the horrified extras behind them. Like the guy's like,
"Yeah,
oh dear God, how dare you moisten me!"
This is a proper street corner in Brooklyn. How dare you wet my shirt?
Yes.
Now you shall hear from my footman and my attorney.
My solicitor will be with you post haste.
Within a fortnight.
Yes.
Yeah. And of course, Laverne's idea of protecting Frank here is to go flirt with hot-built guys.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is altruistic and not knowing Laverne. But she's trying to get some action and also trying to protect her pop.
Yeah,
her motivation
to
protect Frank is higher. Yeah, it's very Laverne. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just also gonna. It's very Laverne, especially with the. You see anything you like, and she goes, "Oh yeah," and it's like wink, 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 wink.
Very wink, wink, wink. Oh, and of course she manages to pick the one guy who takes the idea that she gives him about how they're going to build the pyramid and how they're going to take care of this, and uses it on his own team with his own family.
Right.
And of course, he tells her she'd look great hanging out of a window, which is enough of a red flag, Laverne, to avoid this dude.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, Gino here was. I have a little bit of actor trivia, not a lot here, but I mean, this guy was a TV actor with the Capital 1970s, getting a spot on Beretta, 2 parts in The $6 Million Man, and even a spot on Quincy M.E. And he got a regular bit in a few episodes of Days of Our Lives. So bravo, Gino, va bene. But
cool.
Yeah, he owns that role as the Scud. He's not quite how you say a scuzzburger, but he definitely ain't that main Prince Charming, that's for damn sure.
God, is he not? Only Laverne would try to use these kind of guys to protect her father and then end up having it all blow up in her face. She does, however, dress him down verbally in a beautiful fashion. Which leads, by the way, into the girls brawling. We have to talk about that brawl. It's so good. It's so fun. choreography is great.
Yeah, and yeah, just the Lenny in the background. It's like phone, yelling. And it's like, it's Carmine calling from Milwaukee. And then, Shirley goes, my big yap. My yap is just the right size. And that is a very suggestive laugh that comes from the audience.
Yeah. It's not as much of a woohoo as that dude who whistled when Penny straddled that.
The elephant. Yeah.
In
like, so look, I'm so
robot lawsuits. That was so dirty.
And I love that immediately before the wrestling begins, that Shirley goes in that come on, pose where she's she has this. I love how it's like bent knees, wide stance, one hand gesturing and the other one at her face, like, come on, hit me here, God dare you, I dare you.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
I love the head slapping bit where she's like crawling from just smacking the back of her head.
Smack.
I love
and I love how Lenny's giving commentary while they're fighting.
Yeah.
I have a note here. Far as I can tell, they're fighting over some guy named Gino. Who's Gino? And my comment is, fuck you, Carmine.
Carmine, it's none of your goddamn business. How about that, Carmine? I was going to say that he is so used to them fighting at this point. He's so used to the way they fight that this is not a big deal and not something he needs to break up.
Yep.
Not that he could ever successfully break them up because it's Lenny and his hobby is shadow boxing, not boxing actual men.
Yep.
But I love that way he just absorbs this whole fight. He's just talking to Carmine. Carmine decides to get his little dander up and, as we said, leave the pizza bowl wide open in operational status and just run immediately to Brooklyn. Which is
he doesn't even just run. He goes over the counter like an asshole.
Yeah. And then I think he drives there in their car. Does he not drive there in the girl's car?
No, it's too nice of a car.
So Carmine begins his journey toward Brooklyn. Somehow he manages to get there in a much shorter time than it took the girls to get there, and it took Lenny and Squiggy to get there. Because we're told in part one it is a 23-hour trip from Milwaukee to New York, to Brooklyn. And somehow he manages to get there within what seems to be hours. Unless the framing of the episode is off. Am I wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Am I wrong?
I believe is the case, right? Because it was a 23-hour bus ride with stops, which means he had to get there in less than 12 hours.
Yes. Because there is no way from the way they just set up the pole climbing contest that there is any more than a maybe 1-2 hour gap between the girls' fight and everybody getting ready to climb the pole.
At the very least, that's part of how they set up. They do say that there's 3 days before the end. So I'm wondering if there is a jump and either the syndication edit cut out a dissolve or the editor, or for time, they weren't able to do it.
So now that's feasible. That's actually feasible. I didn't actually notice that the first time the time I've watched this episode. I didn't notice that there's actually supposed to be 3 days between that call and Carmine showing up on the final day of the festival. So, that actually makes sense. Unlike Carmine's behavior in this episode. Okay.
Oh, man.
That brings us to the
we're coming for your balls, Carmine. We're coming for your balls. We're getting the scissors.
Balls. He hasn't earned the right to have balls.
Ooh. 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 I hope I've earned the right to have them someday because mine are tiny. Anyway, moving on. Splatto. Yes.
I was going to mention Lenny saying Splatto.
But yeah.
I was going to say, go ahead.
I was going to say, I love Shirley, the last choice and feeling bad about it. And so what about your grandmother? She's mighty spry.
Yeah. Oh, that was so cute. I love the fact that everybody manages to team up and manages to take Laverne's strategy in and actually apply it.
Yes.
I thought that was pretty darn neat. I love that the boys have bought hot wieners, right? Or was it just sandwiches?
They were sandwiches. They were like cheesy, steaky sandwich things with like some sort of like a
Shirley.
Yeah, toasted bread.
Shirley on Lenny's, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And they bought them as souvenirs, and they tell Grandma DeFazio to hold them, and make sure not to mix them up, which is adorable. And she doesn't. She does not. She hands them to Edna, and hands it to a stranger, but they don't get mixed up. Which I think is. I thought that was darn cute. That was darn cute.
It's very cute. Also, I can't go too far without mentioning this. We've already gone into pretty risque territory, but I cannot believe they got this through. When the boys come by, with the hello, at this point, which got a really good laugh from my mother about that. It's something, what is it, the greasiest thing they'd ever seen or whatever.
Yeah.
Couldn't imagine something greasier. And Squiggy goes, "You want a big gooey pole?"
I don't. Wow.
You make it sound more disgusting than it is. I make everything more disgusting than it is.
That's followed up by him saying, "I'm going to climb on Shirley."
Oh God! Oh God! Oh God!
And I'm going to break your legs.
I quit, and he walks away.
Yep.
Yeah, and the poor guy falling off, and Lenny goes in to watch.
Yep, Splato.
But I love that Laverne was the one who figured out the plan. She's got this figured out. I love it.
She's the leader here. She's the one in charge of everything.
Yep. Yeah, at this point, I was very impressed with the way they handled the timing of this, because when doing notes, it was very hard to keep up with this episode. I mean, I know you and I watched this when I was exhausted. I was so tired. But it's good stuff, but it was a lot of stuff. Yes.
It's notable how tightly they pace the pole climbing. It is really, really nicely done. Really, really nicely shot. Really genuinely tense. The way they insert shots of Edna and Grandma watching them is really good. I'm surprised Edna doesn't actually participate in this. She could have
kind of surprised,
I guess because she'd be one person too many on the team, which is we'll get to in a second, Carmine.
Yeah, but it's a good point. I mean, I do wonder. It could be that Betty was like, "No, I'm not going to do that." It could be just general sexism that the young girls are spry and young, and therefore and Betty pretty old. She's practically so I'm wondering if that might be part of it. Well, Edna's too old to join the gang. But what, I don't know. Sexism.
Yeah, but that doesn't make sense when you got Frank in this. Frank's on the bottom. Frank is only holding the boys up on his shoulders.
Yep.
Well, that doesn't make sense if you think about that one.
Yeah, and not to mention, Edna's not only tall, she's thin, she's light. She could be the one on top. Easily Laverne could carry her and get her to grab the flags at the top. Which, I mean, gosh, you want to get Grandma's blessing for Frank and Edna to get married one day? There you do it. That's how you do it.
Yeah, exactly. Freaking exactly. They could have actually done that with a little more zhuzh, the relationship. Instead, they decided to have them get along.
Yeah.
So,
which is, I'm okay with that. I like that they get along. It's one of those, it cuts it off at the pass a little bit, which is okay. I was okay with that.
Yeah. And it subverts the notion of women hating women, which I'm here for.
Especially the old rustic grandmother or mom hating the son's, new progressive girlfriend.
Yes. I like that they decided to go for that reason alone. Yeah. This is the first time we actually get to see Lenny's fear of heights in action.
That's a good point. I forgot about that. Yeah, because you mentioned that comes up later.
Yeah. And then, by the way, by season 5, it gets subverted. Or the point where he's actually comes in 2 episodes, it becomes subverted. When he says he's started falling off of the roof lately.
Huh.
It comes up in the Visit to the Cemetery. That's in a couple episodes. But yeah, this is where his fear of heights is put in action. Poor guy. It's too high. Only if you feet off the ground, you big baby.
Yep. Oh, yeah. What is with that line that gets only 80 yard in there? It's don't kiss the pole.
Yeah.
Yeah, my comment is, wait, what? God. That's a greasy kiss. Ugh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So everybody's climbing the poles. Good things are happening. The girl's trying to get up there.
And then there's this fucking asshole.
Just not me. Here comes Carmine in a car driving up a street in the middle of a festival where he's not supposed to be driving, first of all. And he gets out and he freaking climbs up a bunch of strangers so he can yell in his girlfriend's face about her parent cheating on him. What a douche! What a goddamn douche he is in this episode. Jesus
and you
Christ.
even see Grandma DeFazio starting to shout, no, like she realizes that's going to disqualify them.
Yeah. And he is not thinking about what they're doing. He's not thinking about the safety of the people underneath him. He's not thinking about the safety of the people on the streets. And then his little effort of being there does indeed boost Laverne up the pole, which is one good thing. But then again, he gets him disqualified. So, yeah, his presence is a negligible thing in this particular scene and episode, except for him ruining the dreams of several people.
Exactly. Yeah. Although, quick note, the one thing I did like to say is you get wife guy Lenny again going, get the flags, Laverne, get both of them.
That's so cute. He's such a wife guy when she does physical things. It's adorable. It's really cute.
It is really cute.
And then of course you didn't notice at the end when everybody gets down to celebrating. Laverne hugs Squiggy and she kisses Lenny on the cheek and gets grease on him.
I forgot about that. I didn't notice that. That's cute.
She gets grease on him for once. and then he wipes his cheek like he's wiping grease, which is great.
Oh man. Yeah. I love how the crowd boos the reaction to them getting disqualified. It's like, boo for Carmine. Gino going to Italy. Send it. What is it? I'll send you a postcard from Palermo. God, Gino, you think? I hope he gets shot by a Mario Adorf character. You douchebag.
That would be the best thing that could happen to him. Period.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's about 10 years off from Italy being incredibly crime-riddled. Which, by the way, that's not to make too general of a statement. There actually was a pretty nasty time in the late 60s, early 70s where they reportedly, based on my knowledge and at least articles I've read that covered the kind of crime history in the 70s, they had like roadblocks like around some cities because they had so many criminals going in and out. So Gino probably didn't have the best time over there, depending on where he was at. Either that or he got into acting and was in a couple of spaghetti westerns, became a stunt guy working for Enzo Castellari, who knows? Or Sergio Corbucci. I don't know.
Yeah.
It always comes back to movies with me, don't it? It always does that.
Yeah. Hey, there's no shame in talking about the movies.
It's true.
Give us the background.
I don't know. Hey, it's better than being a pack mule that I get wrapped up for kids to ride.
Yeah. Truth.
Which also leads me to my next note. So we get to we're starting the epilogue, the last segment of the episode, and they're packing up. That's Shirley's dress from the cruise, isn't it? That nice little pink number?
Yes, it is. It absolutely is.
I love that dress. It looks so cute on her.
Yeah. Everybody looks lovely in this episode, in the epilogue particularly. Cindy looks really, really pretty in that dress. So she looks really nice indeed. This final scene with the emotional resolution and the hugging and the feels is so nicely done. It's nicely written, I think.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Sorry, brain fart. I heard. I had something distracting from outside the room. I apologize.
I said this final scene, all the hugging and kissing, and the emotional resolution is so sweetly written. I asked you what you thought. It is.
I adore it. It actually kind of got me a little choked up.
Yeah.
It's it starts off silly, but I even love when Laverne's trying to sing. It's terrible, but it's very kiddish, and Grandma just putting up with her. It's a loud Italian household, and it's so sweet. And it's like, you call my pop stupid. It's like my heart. Oh, it's great, and I love the hug including Shirley, because because Grandma obviously liked Shirley. She doesn't love Shirley the way they love Shirley, but it's a case of like, you're a good kid, and obviously my son and my granddaughter love you, so you're important to me. And and I was just going to point out the story.
Yes.
When his papa, when his papa died, you know what your father did? He got himself 2 jobs, one before school and one after. And he was the best. There was never a son so good. And just,
yeah. My heart, how dare you?
I know.
How dare you, my heart.
Oh, he moves, it's not enough. He moved too far away. He moved away too far. There's a reason. When I think about how much I love him, then I'm going to have to think about how much I miss him. And just,
I the chest. No wonder Shirley comes in crying. She's watching them cry. Why are you crying? I don't know.
Oh, it's so cute. It's so sweet.
Oh, it's so sweet. It's such a lovely conclusion.
Yeah.
Yeah. That part of the conclusion is lovely. Unlike Shirley and Carmine making out on the stoop. She forgives him so instantly for his douchiness. It's not like, I get that, in a way she's having, an emotional affair. But on the other hand, they are not on an exclusive basis.
Exactly.
As far as we know, the audience has not been told they're on an exclusive basis where they will not see other people.
Mm-hmm.
So his reaction is so OTT. He deserves some kind of consequence for this, and he doesn't get anything.
Yep.
He threatened Lenny's life, and he hasn't even given him anything other than some Cracker Jacks.
Yep.
In return for it.
So that was a hard bargain. Admittedly, he did ask to make out with Shirley first.
Yeah, to be fair. Well, that would be Shirley's decision anyway.
Certainly.
He's surprisingly attracted to Shirley in this two-parter.
That's the thing. There are times when they try to push a Shirley Leonard thing, and it never works for me. And part of it is that, honestly, Michael and Cindy just do not have that kind of chemistry.
Yeah. They have more like a brother-sister chemistry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's very subtle, and it's very subtle. And it's also very narrow. Like, you can see some of the pairings or characters and actors in this show have ranged chemistry with these different actors, with their co-stars, and then others are very narrow. And I find that Cindy and Michael it feels narrow. And that's not to say that I don't think they have the range. It's that with these characterizations they're doing, there's only, it's a little, it's a narrow band, Yeah.
Well, Shirley is outright repulsed by him. She has more, if she has any kind of feelings for him at all, they're kind of like tender mothery feelings.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in season 6. With Laverne, this is different. It's obviously very different. I mean, he hasn't proposed to Shirley.
Right.
Well, Carmine doesn't propose to Shirley. But hey! Well, he proposes to her once. Once, mind you. Once. Once. There's a lot of that in this episode. There was some of it, in Bus Stop. Bus Stop is the first time he ever really expresses any kind of attraction toward her. And then he wants to kiss her, and he kisses her. And all of a sudden, he knows her body completely when she doesn't really exist to him in other episodes. But yeah. I do not know. There is a future scene in season 5 where he tries to facilitate some kind of 3-way with him and Laverne and Shirley, and it doesn't happen. But yeah.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
That's coming. That's coming up. We end with some cute as heck dancing. It's really cute as heck.
It's the perfect conclusion. It emotionally pays off incredibly well. I love Ed and Frank dancing. Constant Anthony and Laverne was a little, especially the woohoo on that was a little like, okay.
It doesn't help that she's straddling him. She straddles him so much in these 2 episodes.
Yeah. And then Shirley and Carmine. And it's okay. Shirley and Carmine in harmony again. But then she goes, we. And it's like, Shirley, no, you're not in a dune buggy. You're not looking for a caveman, and you're not named Roxy. Not yet.
Vicky. I'm Vicky.
What?
What?
Why?
Why?
God. And I I love that it ends with that beautiful crane shot, the camera shadow, and I love the way it snaps on the credits like that. And I love that, this is kind of getting ahead of ourselves, but that's going to become a thing through season 4, is that they don't freeze frame for the credits anymore. Or just dissolve. They actually like let it run for a little bit and have the couple of producer credits. And the way this is done is so elegant. It actually, of all the things that it reminds me, is when the credits for The Last Waltz come on, when they play the Last Waltz main theme as the final song on Scorsese's movie, and it's like, and you're playing the music, and then finally, dink, there comes the credits, and it's like, it's so subtle. I love it.
Yeah. It's all beautifully done. When the boys and the grandma finally join in, and they finally all get to spin together. It's just like a beautiful moment of harmony. Everybody's finally in the same family together. Finally, they're all finally in the same family, the same league, and in the same emotional place.
Yeah. And it's my mother was commenting about how it reminded her of, she loves communal dance as a thing of healing. My mother is very much into, self-care and, with her own, difficult background in childhood, that she watches a lot of stuff about psychology, about therapy, things like that. She's read a ton of books. She practically has a degree practically from just how much reading she's done. And she commented, that it had this, sweet element that the issue with Grandmama, gets solved because she had to express what she was feeling, and they've talked it out a little bit, and saying the crying circle was funny. It was a love cry circle. And then and I guess, that's the way it kind of concludes, is wonderfully Italian. It's intense emotions. It's intense tears. It's intense anger, and it's intense love and community. And it's a great way to conclude the episode. This blew me away as aside from Carmine, even though it blew me away in a different way, a different fashion. It was a really strong start to season 4.
Yeah, it really is. It's a really strong episode. It really is. It's beautiful. And it's a beautiful ending. And the crane work, like you said, in several spots in this episode is absolutely fantastic.
Although it's hilarious to get the camera shadow on that final shot of the festival.
Yeah.
It is right there.
There's also some suspiciously very 70s dressed people.
Oh yeah.
During the street scenes.
Yep.
It's not as bad as people showing up with butterfly collars in season 6. It was supposed to be 1965.
Ooh, wow.
That's bad. That's awful. How's gonna happen?
But anyway, anachronisms aside, it was special. It was wonderful. There was a lot of emotions. It clearly got a lot of emotions out of us. Ones that I will have by this point edited out in some places.
We're gonna keep it clean. Unlike the next episode coming up, we're gonna keep it clean.
No. We'll see what happens next time. But okay, we got to rank this one though. Where are we putting this?
Oh gosh. Oh god. The only thing that really, really detracts from this episode for me is the horrible Carmine plotline. It is awful. It makes him look bad. It makes him look like a greedy, selfish douche. Even though Shirley technically is doing something she shouldn't do because she said she would, see another guy, and she's seen another guy. But it's not like anything with her and Anthony is actually serious.
Yeah.
But he goes so far over the top, and he ruins their victory, and he ruins Laverne's hard work, and he ruins Grandma DeFazio's trip to Italy initially. So we do get a nice resolution for that. A happy resolution for that. And he ruins Frank's attempt at making his mother proud of him. So that's why I think this one. This would be about a 9.5 for me.
Ah, okay.
Everything but the Carmine stuff is good. Everything but the Carmine stuff is good to great. The direction, the costumes, the story is incredible. Everything else is good. This would be a 10 if the Carmine crop were not in the episode. Got it. But unfortunately, it is.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is there.
No, and thus.
Yeah. So for myself, I had it a little lower than that for the Carmine stuff primarily.
Yeah.
And just, the camera shadow unfortunately does kind of take something out a little bit for me. I usually like those little touches, but it's like when I'm really ranking it, like, here's the thing is like when it comes to errors in a film, or a show that show up like that, there's some that are so charming they need to be there. I wish the camera shadow wasn't there because otherwise that is a perfect shot. It's a gorgeous, perfect shot.
Yes.
So I would prefer that not to be. So things like that kind of pop up, technically, like the Western set, the Paramount lot, all that sort of stuff. They did a lot with what they had. So now I feel a little safer about deciding and now I get to say it because of this. It's so Italian. I'm going to go Fellini. I'm going to give this an 8.5. which as of this recording, I actually haven't seen yet, which, I know.
I'm stunned.
I know. Well, I've actually the only Fellini I've seen is his segment of Spirits of the Dead, actually. I've not seen Satyricon. I've not seen La Dolce Vita. There's a lot of his I haven't seen yet.
You should see that soon.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, 8.5. Yeah, Carmine can go sit in the corner and think about what he's done. But the cast all around, though, even Carmine, and this is the thing, as much as Eddie, is having to do a really douchebaggy, dickish version of Carmine. He plays it to the hilt, and I do have to give him credit for that. And it's a bummer because he's so cute with Shirley in that first scene, and then him almost kissing Frank is amazing. Like that's so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, the actors are great. Penny and Cindy, absolutely demolish every scene they're in by being so damn good. The boys are very good in the scenes with the girls. The guest characters are fantastic. I am so sad this is our only appearance of Grandma DeFazio. I would have loved to have seen her more. And I hope it was just a case of they just couldn't find a place for that character rather than it being a case of, she didn't really like the experience. You know what I mean? But anyway, I greatly enjoyed it. 8.5 is good. It's a really good start to season 4, and I'm looking forward to what's coming up.
Only gets better from here. There's some great episodes coming our way.
Cool. All right. So I guess if that's it for today, folks. So thanks for joining us for Night After Night. And if you would like to know more, please find us at Night After Night Pod on Facebook, Tumblr, Patreon, WordPress, or find us at Night After Night PC on Twitter. And you can keep in touch with us. Send us an email. You can also reach us at nightafternightpod@gmail.com if you'd like to send us any comments, questions, complaints about, we didn't go hard enough on dissing Carmine. Or maybe or were we too mean? I wonder. Truly, I do. But anyway, thank you again so much, everyone. And so now that we're getting into season 4, I don't know. Things are feels kind of steamy in here. Lisa, what do we have next?
Shirley gets conked in the head and thinks she's a stripper. This is playing the Roxy.
Wait, what the fuck?
That's most people's reaction to that capsule. That's what happens next.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll see you folks next time to join us again and listen in. And I guess we might see a little bit more of Cindy Williams than expected.
Lots of leg. Still prime time. We're still prime time Tuesday nights, so as long as we can see that much.
I mean, I'm just thinking about the fact that primetime Tuesday nights used to be at the Hollywood Theater. The last Tuesday of the month was Grindhouse Film Festival, and they actually used to play. They did twice play Black Emmanuel movies. So, save search on if you Google that, folks. I don't know if I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. I don't know if I'm gonna. I don't know if I'm gonna cut that. Anyway,
Cover.
we'll see you next time, folks, and thanks for listening.
Careful of those fireworks, kids. Don't climb any grease poles unless there's something really good on top of it.
Ooh, ah, ooh, ah.